184th year since the conquest of Aegon the Conqueror, King Aegon IV, known as Aegon the Unworthy to the history books, perhaps one of the worst and most damaging kings Westeros ever saw, finally let go of life, leaving behind him a dark storm in his wake that would consume and divide Westeros. In a way, King Aegon IV would do more damage to the realm in his death than he ever did in life, which, given all the misrule that occurred during his reign, is staggering. In truth, no one wept for the king, as most had grown to dislike and despise the man, from the most noble of lords to the most humble of small folk. In truth, most of his family and children, both trueborn and base, had no love for their father, none more so than his only trueborn son and heir, Prince Daeron, who was greatly disliked by his father, who is rumoured to be the source of the claims that Daeron was in fact the son of Aemon the Dragon Knight. Prince Daeron departed Dragonstone within a fortnight of learning of his father's death and was swiftly crowned by the High Septon in the Red Keep. A surprise to some, Daeron chose to wear his father's crown, with some at court feeling it would be best to distance Daeron from his father, but it is speculated that Daeron chose to don his father's crown to quell any of the remaining doubts about his legitimacy. While in truth there was no way to prove or disprove the rumours, there would always be those at court and further afield who would use the suggestion of illegitimacy to further their own means. While Daeron could never permanently remove the stain on his reputation, most paid it no mind, and the symbolism of him wearing Aegon IV's crown did help to quell any doubters somewhat. But despite it all, he would be missing arguably the most important symbol of the Targaryen dynasty other than the now dead dragons, the Sword of Kings, the sword of the Conqueror, Blackfyre, which had been given to his younger bastard half-brother, Daemon Waters, now Daemon Blackfyre. The thing is, Daemon was not just another one of King Aegon IV's bastards, as even among the great bastards he was different and stood apart, as while he was illegitimate, both his parents were true-born Targaryens, King Aegon IV and Princess Daena. The lack of Daeron holding the Sword of Kings would be a key factor pushed by his enemies. As soon as he was crowned and took the Iron Throne, King Daeron II acted swiftly to put right many of the things that Aegon IV had put wrong, and there was much that needed to be fixed. He started by removing all the members of the Small Council, which for many at court was unprecedented and an affront to the honour of those men. But to Daeron, these were the very men who facilitated and allowed his father's misrule, and removing them would be sending a clear message to the nobles and small folk alike, replacing them with men of his own choosing, most of whom proved wise and capable counsellors. It sent a message to the realm that he was not his father, and he was worthy of his crown, and would work to right the wrongs of the rule of Aegon. While replacing the small council was a vital move for Daeron, and a good start, there was much to be done, and not long to do it. It was a year or more before the City Watch King's Landing was too repaired and brought back to respectable standing, being a force for good, rather than brutality and corruption. King Aegon IV had often used promotion to the City Watch as a way to shower rewards on those he most favoured, and they in turn made sure that the brothels and even the decent women of the city were available for Aegon's lusts. Given the ingrained culture of the Goldcloaks over Aegon's rule, it was a slow process finding the correct men to fill the command roles, which proved a challenge, as among the members of the Watch there was few suitable men. But over time, changes were made, and the reputation of the Goldcloaks was restored somewhat. But Daeron did not stop there. In his efforts to improve those things his father had corrupted, or had left to rot through malign neglect, he was conscientious in his duties to the realm, and sought to stabilise it in the wake of Aegon's deathbed decree, which legitimised all of his bastard half-siblings. And given the number of them, this would perhaps prove to be the hardest of his tasks during his early rule. While there was some suggestion to rescind his father's last wishes, in truth, King Daeron legally could not do so, even if he wanted to. So, he did what he could to keep the great bastards close, treating them honourably, and even becoming close to some of them, continuing their incomes that the king had bestowed upon them. He also agreed to pay the dowry that Aegon had promised the Archon of Tyrosh, thereby seeing his half-brother, Daemon Blackfyre, wed to Rowan of Tyrosh, as Aegon had desired. For all of that, Daemon was only 4 and 10. On their wedding day, he granted Daemon a tract of land near the Blackwater, with the right to raise a castle. Some say he did such things to assert his rule and legitimacy over the great bastards. Others because he was kind and just, and wanted to build a relationship with his half-siblings. But as history tells us, from what was about to come. Whatever the truth of King Daeron II's motivations, such efforts sadly proved in vain, and would bathe the realm in fire and blood once again.